Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Today taking a look at the Power of the Force release of Han Solo and Endor Gear. This figure came out in 1997, and I think it was pretty close to even when the Endor playset came out. So back in those days, Hasbro, or Kenner if you want to call it, was really good at kind of keeping their themes together. Unlike now when you get a playset and not really any supporting figures to go along with it. But that's another topic. Anyways, this figure, as I said, 97, came out on that green card back. Still gave you Darth Vader in the upper left side. Through the blister, a look at the action figure with the accessory you're getting. And then on the left side is going to be, well, it was your photograph. It was a color photo underneath that hollow sticker, showing off the character from the movie with his name and accessories listed below that. Backside, pretty standard for the Power of the Force line. Top half gives you your bio information about your character. Got an image of him from the movie. And then the rest of that card shows off other figures and vehicles that were available in the line, with a small checklist off to the side of figures that are not being shown in the photo. Taking a look at the figure out of the packaging. First thing to note, you're probably already noticing it, is that this figure did originally come with blue pants, which is incorrect for Han Solo in Return of the Jedi, as he was wearing brown pants. But they did eventually correct this figure and gave him brown pants. I have it. I have no idea where I have it. Somewhere stored away. So I'm not able to show that off. But what makes him Han Solo in Endor Gear is that camouflage trench coat that he's wearing. And the look of it holds with kind of what they did for anyone else who had an outer cloak or robe or coat in this case. You just kind of have this outer shell that just covers the main body, the chest and legs. And then the arms are sculpted to match that robe. If you wanted to, you could peel the coat off, but then you're left with camouflaged arms, so the figure just doesn't look good without this coat on. Detailing to the sculpt for this trench coat looks good. I like the way it hugs the body. You have a lot of lines sculpted in, giving it kind of some movement to it as it flows down along the chest and around the front right leg. And then on that left leg that kind of comes forward, you got some flaring out as it opens up. Coloring is, it's so-so. The darker splotches of that camouflage looks alright. And they did try to dirty the coat up a bit, give it a little bit of a grungy look. They used kind of what was popular in the line at that time, which was just to throw these speckles all over the place. You know, for the AT-AT and I think like Sand Trooper figures, some of those vehicles and figures had these little black spots splattered all over. This is close to being that, but I think it works a little bit better. You have some pockets sculpted on each side of the trench coat. Obviously not functional or anything, but it's a nice little added detail. Going in for a closer look at the head sculpt of the figure, and I am having a hard time determining if this is the exact same sculpt used for the original Han Solo figure released in 95. I'll put them both up next to each other and you can judge yourself. You know, to me, the neck seems a little different on the Endor release. Maybe just a smidge shorter. Aside from that, you're getting a little bit more definition within the hair sculpt. Obviously, the plastic skin tone is a different color. Looks a little bit better, in my opinion, on this new release instead of the pink that we're getting on the original one. But either way, you know, not a ton of resemblance to Han Solo, but you weren't getting those photo-accurate figures back in the time. So at least the look was consistent, and yeah, it kind of looks like Han Solo. Painting, though, that you're getting looks pretty good. That brown is staying right on the hair where it needs to be. Eye painting looks really good also. As for the chest and arms of the figure, well, arms not much to say. The look of the trench coat continues, and you have a decent bend sculpted at each elbow. A little bit more of a bend for his right arm that holds the weapon, and that left arm kind of just off to the side a little bit. As for the chest of the figure, I'll go ahead and peel that coat off so you get a better look at the inside. Obviously, like I said, looks really weird without it, right? Thankfully, with the trench coat on, it does hide the worst feature of this sculpt, and that is just the oversized, muscular look of the chest, leading down to that skinny waist. Certainly not appropriate for the character, but it's what they did back in the days of that line. Sculpting is pretty identical to that 95 release. There are just slight differences around these shoulders as it flares out. So it's definitely a new sculpt. Detailing that you're getting in the vest looks good with those 4 pockets, 2 on the upper chest, and then 2 closer to the waist. White shirt underneath, nice painting for that, staying right where it needs to be. And then on the upper part, you can see those big muscles showing through his pec muscles. Along the back, little bit of wrinkle sculpted in, once again, just to kind of give it some life. Around the waist, you've got his belt and holster sculpted in. Nice brown painting, staying right where it needs to be. What's that? A communicator on the left side of his hip, painted silver. And then as it rolls around to the back side there, again, you got some silver buckle detailing painted in as it goes down to the holster on the right side of his leg. Holster is not functional. You're not putting his blaster in there. Definitely wouldn't fit if it was usable anyways, and I'll show that off in a little bit. And then getting to the pants on the figure, well, like I already said, what you're looking at here is blue. They did eventually correct it into brown pants. Nice yellow painting of those squares running down the sides of each leg, which is indeed accurate. That is an accurate color for Return of the Jedi Han Solo, going down into the black boots that he's wearing. The sculpting and look of the legs are very similar to that original 95 release. In this case, though, you're getting a bit of a wider stance. As for articulation, head swivels a full 360. Same thing for each arm at the shoulder, full swivel at the waist. And even with that trench coat on, no problem getting the legs to come straight out, but really no bend backwards to speak of. As for accessories, he does come with a single blaster. Still in 97, definitely using oversized weapons. This thing is much larger than it needs to be. Kind of comically large, but decent sculpting though. Nice detailing to it. It certainly is identifiable as being Han Solo's blaster. Molded in the black color that you're seeing here with no other special paint application or anything to it. And he holds it well in his right hand. So overall for me, it's not too bad of a figure, especially for 97. Having that trench coat on certainly hides the majority of that overly muscular sculpt that he had, and it was great that we were getting an action figure to support a playset that was coming out. If you're a fan of the line, fan of the collection, sure, this is something you might want to go back and pick up if you don't have. If you just want a Han Solo and Endor Gear, there's certainly better ones that have been released over the last 24 years. So that's going to wrap this one up. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this figure in the comment section below, and as always, thanks for watching.